Hey, Daily Dosers, this is Pastor Larry here again. Yesterday, I talked about the power of positive peer pressure and why God tells us not to forsake the gathering of ourselves together, not so we can win attendance awards, but so we can be iron sharpening iron. Today, I want to look at a passage from the Old Testament book of Ezekiel and show the power that we sometimes can have to protect one another in ways we might not be aware of. When Ezekiel wrote, the nation of Israel was just all jacked up. They were incredibly messed up, far away from the Lord. They were taking pride in their sin, not struggling with their sin, but high-handed pride within it. And the Lord tells Ezekiel, he says, you need to bring the message of judgment. But after telling the people what will happen, really telling Ezekiel what will happen and what he's supposed to tell the people, the Lord says these words. I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land so I would not have to destroy it. It's Ezekiel 22, starting at verse 30. But I found no one. So I'm going to pour out my wrath on them and consume them with my fiery anger, bringing down on their own heads all they have done, declares the sovereign Lord. Now here's what I want you to catch. The Lord in this passage is saying, Ezekiel, I have looked among the people for just someone who could stand in the gap and walk righteously. And that would not take away the sins of the people, but it would buy them time, because as they stand in the gap, I will withhold my judgment because of the one who stands there. Have you ever thought about that in your own life? That there are people you and I love, there are family members, there's a whole community out there. And sometimes we think, well, what good am I doing? What difference am I really making? But the Bible actually says that there's a time and a place where the wrath of God is held back because of the righteousness of one. Man, not just better together, but sometimes safer together. Now, I certainly don't want any of you listening to say, oh, great, I'll live like hell and it'll all be okay because my Uncle Fred's a really godly guy. No, that's not how it works. That's not what he's saying here. But he is saying to each one of us that our walk with the Lord has even far more power than we would ever guess in our highly individualistic spirituality of today. So I want to encourage you, stand in the gap because it's the right thing to do. And it also might be the most loving thing you can do for those you love.